All right. Hey guys, welcome. This will be the second installment in this group of videos. I'll give it a few seconds for some of my friends to join up. I know I had multiple people send me messages saying they're going to join, so hopefully we get a good turnout. This will be recorded, so I'm going to save these. Created a YouTube account so I can upload those to YouTube, and I linked it to my Instagram account too, so you'll be able to get to it through the Instagram account or Facebook, and the roads will lead to these videos in a series. So just give it a few more minutes. I see people joining. Thanks, guys. It's super awesome. Turns out there were 650 views on the last one, which is crazy to me. Seems like it was a good idea to share some of this. And I think today's content, you'll find the most valuable out of all of it, to be honest with you. The information that I'm going to share tonight is where a lot of the research has gone on over the last couple years, the research that I've done, and it's pretty good content. So I'm going to share all those links with you guys after this is posted in the comments section. I'm going to create a bunch of hyperlinks for everything I'm going to talk about today in this series. The other thing I wanted to mention is this one's going to be hopefully quite a bit shorter than the last one. I felt like 18 minutes of me rambling was too long. So today, if we go back to this, just a quick start with this diagram we talked about last time. And we talked about this pyramid building on top of your time management and it being up to you to make sure you get all this in. Today, we're going to talk about the second piece of that puzzle, which is the down regulation piece, something I've been focused on pretty heavily over the last couple years. And then I'll do two more. I'll do one on how I eat and the diet I follow on our family, how we eat. And then I'll do a final one on fitness and kind of how I approach fitness and work out. I wish everybody could have been with me tonight. It was really a fun workout. I just got done, did heavy deadlifts, some handstand work, some progression work with a box on the wall, and then boxing. So did 2 minutes on the speed bag, 10 toes to bars, 2 minutes on the heavy bag, 10 toes to bars, and 6 rounds of that. So just got done with that and jumping into this, and we'll go ahead and get started. So down regulation, I think it's the easiest way to explain it. You'll also hear people talk about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. I think that you really get geeked out pretty fast. It's super fascinating to me, but I don't think you have to think about it at that level of depth. So what downregulation is if you were to think about your results as an equation, which is kind of how I look at it, you've got your fitness that you put in, the kind of workouts you do, the amount of workouts you do, the energy you put into the fitness piece of the equation. You've got your diet, which is a big piece of it. And I'll talk about that later. I personally think it's the biggest piece is the diet. And then you've got this downregulation piece of that equation. It's where I've been able to find some pretty good advantage over the last year, 2 years of learning about sleeping better and how to recharge and rebuild and not get hurt, not get injured. So just kind of before we start, I got a question. I got a recommendation from a good friend of mine. His name's Eric Wooters. He's a super fit guy, and I liked his idea. He said, man, you really ought to talk to them real quick about the long game. What does it take to work out for a long time and the mentality that it takes so that you stay with it? I think it's a really interesting question and something to cover because I think about it in two ways. You'll hear me say, tomorrow sucks. I hate waiting for tomorrow if you can do it today. So, my least favorite thing in the world is when someone will say, hey, I'm going to start a new workout program on Monday, and it's, Friday or Saturday. And you could be starting that right now and making some progress, and then Monday you'd be doing it better. But then I stop and think about that. And the flip side of that, which is equally as important, is if you have an injury or if you're sore or if you're exhausted because you've been running 100 miles an hour and you just feel like, if you're listening to your body, that now is not a good time to work out, sometimes you should listen to your body, because there is always tomorrow. Because if you think about it as a long game, you can always just make up for it tomorrow. And so you have to balance those two things of making sure that you're not putting things off and giving yourself an excuse, but also understanding that this is a very long game and there's always tomorrow. You can always make up for tomorrow and have a workout tomorrow. And I think about that a lot. So for me, a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight is that on the down regulation side is so that I can do the fitness and the workouts and the things that I want to do for a very long time. Personally, I've said to myself every year for a long, long time, I want to be more fit next year. And eventually you're going to hit a point where, as you get older, you're not going to be able to do what you did last year. And that's when I will accept I'm getting older, and I'm not ready to accept that yet. So I look for advantages in diet. I look for advantages in down regulation, like we're going to talk about tonight. So diving into that, down regulation is basically a combination in my mind. And again, I'm going to link you guys to a whole bunch of information that you can get to. It's a combination of controlling your stress levels, because your cortisol levels, if they get too high, will beat your body down. Also, controlling your cortisol levels, controlling your stress levels, your overall mobility and joint health, which is an area that I have had to really focus on. Still a long way to go there, but your body's ability to keep taking workouts and deal with it, a lot of it has to do with how much work you put into mobility and flexibility and joint health. So I'm going to give you some guidance on that tonight. And then sleep, and I mentioned this last time, is getting good quality sleep. And tonight I'll give you, when we're done here, I'll give you the links to go to the meditation app I use and the recipe for the magnesium water that I've been using. Some friends of mine use it. It's really good, and it's really, really cheap. So it's a good way to do it. So stress levels. Let's start with stress levels. I talked last time about meditation being a method to deal with stress levels. When we're done here, I'm going to give you guys a link for an episode on Barbell Shrugged, which is a podcast I follow. And Barbell Shrugged, there's lots of episodes with lots of interesting things. But one of them really stuck with me, and it was this episode on SEAL Fit, a gentleman that talks about how Navy SEALs control their anxiety, control their stress in high stress situations, and that you can apply that to other things in life, where if you're stressed about work, you're stressed about family, you can bring yourself down and control your stress levels. There's a method that he teaches in this video called box breathing. I use it a lot. I'm a big fan of it. And you're essentially breathing in a very deep breath. If you were to picture the ball going up as you breathe in, and then holding your breath for an equal amount of time as the ball goes out, and then exhaling very, very slow, ball goes down. Hold your breath as the ball comes in. So you're envisioning this box. You can start with 4 seconds on each one of those, or 5 seconds on each one of those. And as you regulate, you'll be able to do more and more seconds of that imaginary ball going around the box. So I'll leave you guys with a link for that when we're done here, and I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. The other app, and he talks about this in that video, the other app I use on my phone, and I do this in the airport, do this in the morning, is pranayama. It's you can put in your breathing patterns that you want to follow, and it gives you some sound to follow those breathing patterns. It makes meditation really, really easy. Meditation, the way I use it, is really controlling your breath, bringing your anxiety down, getting your mind clear. And people will tell me, boy, I hate trying meditation because all these thoughts come crashing into my mind and then I can't do it. The reality is those thoughts are going to come crashing into your mind anyway. The meditation is about trying to accept that those thoughts are coming at you, put them over in the parking lot, and I'm going to deal with them later, because this time that I'm sitting here right now is for me to recharge my body. And so I can parking lot those thoughts, but those thoughts are going to come at you. They do for all of us. The other link I'm going to give you guys around just mindset for stress levels is a lady that I follow all of her podcasts. Her name is Steph Goudreau, and she's got a podcast on YouTube called Harder to Kill Radio. It's really interesting. I think there's 60-something episodes, so you can kind of look at the titles and figure out which ones you want to look into. But I really like her content. I learn a lot from it. It's one of the rabbit holes that I go down, so I'll leave you that link, and you guys can look into Harder to Kill Radio. I think it's really good. So moving past stress levels, and if there's questions, throw them over in the comments section, and when we're done, we'll go through those at the end. I felt like on the other video, some of the best content came from the questions at the end. The next thing we're going to talk about is mobility and joint health, and for me, that is essentially yoga. It's yoga, but not vinyasa yoga where you're going to spend 45 minutes really wrecking your body. Now, that's great. You can do that as part of your fitness program or part of your yoga practice. But if you're just using it as part of working on your mobility and prepare yourself for a workout, the theory is you really should limit that to about 20 minutes a day. Otherwise, you'll take away from the fitness that you do later. So the one that I follow is an app called ROMWOD, and I'm gonna give you guys the link for that. It's a subscription of $12 a month maybe. I do it every day at lunch, and if I do it at lunch, then by the evening I'm a lot more, my hips are open, my shoulders are a lot more open, areas where if you're trying to work out are going to be stiff for it. And it's just one of those things. It's like maintenance on your body as a system. You have to do this maintenance if you want to put the work and get the results in the results out that you want. So a big fan of that. The other one that in the CrossFit world everybody talks about, everybody knows about, is Kelly Starrett. If you're not into CrossFit, maybe this will be new to you, and I'm going to give you the link for him and all of what he does and called the Mobility WOD. But every day he has a real brief video on do this stretch and use these bands to open up some of your joints in your body. And it's a very healthy thing if you just follow those once in a while. You get a lot of value out of it. So Mobility WOD is good. And then the other one I like, there's a lady out there, her name is Jill Miller, and she has a podcast called Yoga Tune-Up. And her thing is she uses lacrosse balls and softballs and things that you can roll around on and smash a certain area, but in a way that you're relaxing onto it and you actually put it into your breath work and your yoga work at the same time, and where you have a sore area. And I've been struggling with a little bit of a shoulder issue the last few weeks, and it's much better now, because if you follow some of those theories, just because the pain is in my shoulder doesn't necessarily mean that the issue is in my shoulder. For me, it's in my rear lats, upper lats, and getting that to unglue and loosen up has really helped a lot. So those things will help on the mobility and the joint health side, which is really important if you want to keep working out injury free, or if you had an injury and you want to come back from that without having to go get a surgery or take drugs for that. The first approach should be trying to better your body through eating right and in mobility, and then take those other paths. And sometimes those other paths are necessary. And the final thing is sleep. And we talked about sleep a little bit last time on this video. So for me, I sit down, I do a different app for meditation. So it's two types of meditation. One is bringing myself centered middle of the day maybe, and dealing with some stress and keeping my stress levels in check and my cortisol levels in check. And the box breathing works really good for that. The other one, though, is if I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'll spend 10 minutes doing an app that comes on your iPhone. It's super easy to find. You guys probably already know about it, called Timeless. I really like it because Timeless gives you some sound. It gives you some direction on what to do. Do that for 10 minutes right before you go to bed. It sounds easy. It ends up being a chore, but I promise that as soon as you wake up feeling really good because you got a good night's sleep, then you'll see the value in it. Do that 10 minutes before you go to sleep. And then a lot of people, I must have been this guy, a lot of people have a magnesium deficiency. And the minute that I started trying a magnesium supplement in addition to my meditation before I went to bed, immediately my sleep quality went way up. So I was telling you, I track my sleep on my watch, and the amount of percentage of time would go from maybe 2 hours of deep sleep to 4 or 5 hours. Last night I got 4.5 hours of deep sleep. The night before that it was like 5 hours. Over the weekend, really put effort into sleep and got one that was 6 hours of deep sleep. It was outstanding. The next day I felt amazing. So those are the kind of things that I work on for down regulation, stress levels, mobility, joint health, and sleep. And I'm going to give you guys the links for all this stuff when we're done. So in the spirit of trying to keep this short, I was going to open it up for some questions if you guys have any. Like I said, I thought the last time some of the best content came from the questions and us talking about that. So if there's anything like that, please let me know and we'll answer it. And then these will be available on that YouTube channel, and you can get to them through my Instagram account, which I'll post, and then I'll post some links on here too. So just giving it a few minutes. Anybody, any thoughts or questions? Chris Molesky says, I'm a donut eater. So Chris knows the story, I think. For me, eating donuts and eating bread-based stuff is an easy thing not to do. It's there's a light behind me, sorry. It's an easy thing for me not to do because I get migraines if I eat a lot of bread-based stuff. So they're amazing, they taste amazing, but the penalty for me is high enough that I just don't do it. So, okay. Angie had a question. I'm taking a plant-based omega supplement for multiple things. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, this is a really good point. I was going to cover this in the diet side of things, but the omega-based supplement is really another way to approach, are you getting good, healthy fats? So most people's diet, they don't, right? They're eating processed food, they're eating takeout, they're eating food out of a box that you're making because you bought a box, or they have a plant-based diet and they need to put good foods back in their diet, or good fats back in their diet. But I think omega supplements like you're taking can be a big help. And one of the things that I think is very important is that you learn to listen to how your body responds to things. So if you're taking something and you feel better because of it, pay attention to that. Or if you feel bad about something, pay attention to that. Silly things like, are you going to the bathroom right? Do you have sex drive? Things that you would expect your body to do normally don't go away just because you're 35, 40 years old. Like, all of that stuff should operate the same way. Just you probably just have to do a little bit of maintenance on your body. You have to feed it the right minerals, trace minerals, the right food, get the right sleep, and be able to recharge. So I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. I'll probably just go ahead and sign off, and it's a little bit shorter than last time, not a lot, but hopefully this is valuable to you guys. And let me know if you want anything added in the next one. It'll be on diet, which is something that I spend a lot of time on. Okay, thanks guys.